Today on JayOnAir, I'm joined by Gbemi, a wellness visionary who's turning the narrative around fat loss, not by cutting out your roots, but by embracing them. She's the founder of the African Fat Loss Method, a coach, nutrition expert, and entrepreneur. From a wellness blog to healthy restaurants and a signature coaching method built for real life. Gbemi's work is about sustainable change, not crash diets. Gbemi, good to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. What a fantastic intro.
I mean, of course, you're doing such a fantastic work. You know, I'm such a huge fan of your work. But talk to us, how did you even get into fitness and this entire thing? Because I know you're an entrepreneur and you worked before now. So talk to us about your life before now and what just got you into fitness.
Okay. I would say fitness is something that has been very intrinsic. I've been an athlete, so I used to run track. I played basketball in uni. And then after that, I just found a sport. So I was on a show where I did a triathlon. And then after that, I found CrossFit and I found boxing. So I've always found these activities that I loved. I always loved moving my body. So it just feels really good. I would say in terms of building physique and, shaping and abs and all of that, maybe I got into the gym specifically. I would say post-uni where I kind of wanted to, it's one thing to perform for sports, it's another thing to build a physique and shape, right? I think a lot of people don't really know that it's a different. So I would say after uni, I started writing my blog, DubaiFitFoodie.com, and then that blog started taking traction. It wasn't I planned it or anything. It's just that the SEO of Dubai Fit Foodie just basically made it quite a popular blog. When people would search fitness and food, it would come up. So through that traction, and here we are now.
Okay, what were you doing in Dubai at the time? Because I know that you were running a restaurant at the time.
Absolutely.
So talk to us about that. And it was a fit restaurant, or what was the idea behind it?
Okay, so a fit restaurant, I love it. So we the concept is called Catfish, and it's basically African healing food, and we're taking the concept of the bowl. So bowl concepts were blowing up everywhere. Think Chipotle, sweet green, or anything that's in a bowl, a healthy bowl of salad, right? And we were okay, how can we make this truly African? So we built the concept around jollof. So we had jollof rice, jollof quinoa, jollof cauliflower rice. Of course, we're in Dubai, so we had jollof hummus, and then you would have your greens on the side and your proteins, and that's really how we started. So I was writing a blog where I would be experimental with Nigerian food in a healthy way, because I realized very quickly that even though I wanted to be healthy and eat salads and smoothies, it was just at 12 o'clock, I'm looking for the above. What's going on here? So it wasn't giving. I'm okay, how can I really combine this thing? So really, it's been a decade of figuring out, okay, how can I combine Nigerian food in a way that still tastes good? Because if people come to your restaurant and don't like the food, they're not coming back, right? No matter how healthy it is. And I think that's why a lot of healthy restaurants also tend to struggle is, healthy is something they kind of have to convince people to do, right? So if it tastes good, nobody needs to be convinced, right? So just really finding that balance. But Catfish definitely was one of the hardest things I did. Running a restaurant is beyond the food, is your operations, is your team, is the consistency you're able to manage. So that really made me grow up, because before that, I worked in corporate. Whether you do or not do, you collect your salary now. But when you start running your own business, it's a completely different approach that you have to take. And it took a big toll on me, but also I feel like it really shaped me into the person that I am, and I'm very grateful for the experience.
Yeah. So you left that behind and you moved on to, so did you move directly to Nigeria after that, or what was that? How did you make that decision? Because I know that you are here now most of the time in Nigeria. So talk to us a bit about that.
Okay, cool. So I think when I was launching the restaurant, I always kind of wanted to walk backwards. I thought, okay, I want to bring, my thing has always been African foods, and superfoods is what I was cooking at the time. So I was very interested in things like moringa, baobab, the herbals, and wondering how people can say African food is unhealthy when we have so many powerful ingredients, and our nutrition is literally amazing, right? So I was okay, if I can introduce people to our food on a more palatable level, right, let them come and eat it, then maybe people will become more interested about African ingredients. And I've always wanted to, this is my personal dream, but always wanted to go into manufacturing and then maybe more product-based lines. But I felt the restaurant was a great place to start. So when TMI, me and my partner basically broke up, business partner, always have to clarify. I was you know what, let me go to Lagos, let me take a year off work, which was also terrifying. Listen, I was looking for somebody that would go and I can stay in my father's house. I didn't have to think about anything. I didn't want to have to pay rent or think about bills. And I was okay, let's go back to Lagos. Anyone who knew me back then would be Lagos, because the way I had
You had batch
denied everything. I was like,
you denied us.
I denied everything.
Leave us.
Leave, you get? But I came here and like day by day, honestly, it healed me in so many ways. And I found my, like, I would say community here. I think one thing I was really worried about was because I lived such an active life, I was like, how will I, go to the gym? And then I had come at a time where it seemed like the industry was really, people were really showing ourselves, okay, cool. But like, there's things happening here. So came back here. Honestly speaking, for the first couple of months, it was more like seeing what's up. So I really just took that time out because I really was burnt out. And then because I had already been coaching, right? So in Dubai, I had my restaurant, I had a dance company, I was doing PT on the side. So I was doing I was really hustling, right? And then obviously when you hustle like that for, you just have to, I took a break. So when I came back here, I'm like, okay, you know what, let's start coaching primarily. And honestly, coaching organically has now pretty much exploded, and that's what I do full time most of the time, and obviously I create content around that as well.
I mean, I know we're talking about fitness and all of that, but people often talk about, when they talk about breakups, they talk about relationship breakups, and by relationship I mean like romantic relationships. And you mentioned a breakup with your partner. How hard was it for you to go through that, and how did you navigate all of that?
Oh my god,
the way she rolled her eyes,
so tough.
Was this partner male or female?
Female, but I also had a male partnership breakup as well. Okay. Right? I think when it comes to, if you're an entrepreneur and I think there are different types of entrepreneur. There's like the operations strategic guy, and there's like the visionary, the idea person. If you're the idea person, you need to be very clear on what things look like. I feel like because I've always had a brand, I had like a blog when people weren't really doing blogs. I've always been creating content. I've been on Instagram for like 10 years plus. You get literally posting the same thing. If you go to my page from like 2008, you will still see jollof quinoa. Like it isn't new to me, right? This is what I've always done. But I feel like when you have a brand and you have like an audience or a vision, when people who have maybe more financial capacity than you do come and want to partner up, just always remember that it's for a reason, right? I feel like when I was young, I'm still young.
Younger.
I feel like when I was younger, I would see like financial propositions as such a huge opportunity. But what I didn't take enough credit for was like, well, if someone is offering you a certain amount of money, it's because they've seen something. Like nobody's silly, nobody's stupid. They see returns in you. And I feel like I wish that I had from the get-go really kind of outlined what I expect from the relationship, the kind of what scope everyone really truly does. Because when you're starting the business, it's nice and rosy now, but this is my friend, this is my guy, do you get? It's super important to be very clear on who does what, who gets what. And I feel like when you don't have that kind of clarity in place is when, things start to happen. All right,
we're still in conversation with Gbemi Giwa, who is a fitness guru. People call you fitness guru, right?
Well, I'll take it.
I mean, you documented your fitness journey early on. Like you said, you've been doing this for a while now. How did that evolve into the African fat loss method? And I want to make this two questions in one. How did it become a thing where people would say African or Nigerian food is not healthy? And so when you even go online, you see salads and all of that. When did it become a thing? And did you always have the idea that, no, that's not true, our foods are actually quite healthy?
First of all, I never had the idea, right? I think for me, it was when I left Lagos. Before I left Lagos for uni, isn't the food that they give you that you eat rice? Nobody's even thinking about is it healthy or not. You just eat the food, right? And then when I left and I started playing sports, obviously, like, you're looking at foods that are going to optimize your performance. And then I started researching like healthy foods. And I think also as a teenage girl, you go through a lot of like body dysmorphia, where it's like you want to be skinny, but you are not. Like, okay, how do I get skinny? Basically is what we wanted at the time. And then you start researching healthy foods, and all the diets at the time were salads, smoothies. So subconsciously I started just, I would be making jollof rice, and I said, let me just make salad, make a smoothie, make this, make that. And then I think that it's not explicitly said anywhere. Like, nobody writes articles saying African food is going to kill you, but the culture around food implies that to be healthy, you need to eat a certain type of way, and that conversation does not include African food. And I feel like that's why mentally we take it out of the box. I speak to a lot of clients, and they're like, I want to lose weight, and I stopped eating eba, I stopped eating pounded yam. I'm like, why though? When you actually look at the ingredients in this food, like, what is yam? Yam is a tuber at the end of the day, right? How is that different from a potato, right? Like, our greens are so healthy. Where our cuisine is our fault is in our methods of cooking. We use a lot of oil. We like to fry.
Yeah. We like to fry. That's so true.
We like to fry, and also our portions, right? We eat like, if we don't eat, there's going to be an issue. So that's why the issue.
Land.
Yeah, but inherently the ingredients themselves are not unhealthy.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, health and wellness advice, is often Eurocentric. I mean, like we said, and I like that you're trying to change that conversation, you and many other people. When you were building your method, or how important was it for you to center African food and African traditions?
Yeah.
Because I think that what also drew me to your work is that there's just a way around it. People could easily say, oh, eat African food, but there's a storytelling. It's almost like you're trying to pass a message. So whether people are paying for your service or not, once they get on your page, there's something that they are learning. They're getting some form of education. So how important was it for you to center African food and tradition? I know you're enjoying the conversation with Gbemi, but relax. Just to let you know that if you're a brand out there and you're seeking to partner with us on radio and on YouTube, we are so glad to welcome you into the family. All you need to do is send us an email to JayOnAirBusiness@gmail.com, and your brand can be side by side some of the biggest opinion leaders like Gbemi, people in politics, people in entertainment, and people around the world can get to see the amazing work that you do. So send that email today, JayOnAirBusiness@gmail.com. Now let's get back to knowing how we can lose weight this Christmas, okay?
Extremely important. So for me, having not lived here for a while, I felt I was constantly in spaces where when we're having conversations about health, African food was never part of that conversation. So for years, I was feeling like, wait, what? Like, why not, right? And I feel like that's a huge part of what really drew me back to Lagos, where people want to be healthy, right? But how do we have these same conversations in a way that actually looks at the average Nigerian? And honestly, I think one of the best things that happened to me in terms of like really clarifying this method is being here. Because I could have been in Dubai and I would have been creating things. I remember I used to make I made a lot of creations and wraps and stuff, but I don't make those recommendations anymore because the average Nigerian probably doesn't have access to those ingredients, and it doesn't mean that you cannot still achieve that healthy lifestyle. So I think also being here kind of forced me to rethink a lot of things, and it's also like, well, we have 1,000,001 Western nutritionists. We have a limited number of people having these conversations with our food, and if we want to keep our food and keep our culture, and actually if you really want to help people, every time I actually have a real conversation with someone, I'm just like, no, like that's wrong, think about it this way. And it's just really small shifts that I realize I see it working for people. Like when you see the results, okay, a client's working with me and they've lost 10 kg, they didn't have to starve themselves, they didn't have to give up a lot of food. Even mentally, it's so freeing. I don't know, the work is very affirming. I don't know how else to say, but you feel it in the work,
I mean, you did mention that our food is healthy, but sometimes it's the method.
Yes.
So talk to us a bit about some of those methods on how we make certain kinds of meals that sort of affects how healthy the food can be for our bodies.
Okay, so I mean, the biggest one, lowest hanging fruit is frying. We fry a lot of food. You're eating fried plantain, you're eating fried meat, and then you're frying the stew, and then
I like to fry. But the jollof sauce is not good enough. If you don't fry with all of that.
And I think is also conditioning yourself, right? That it has to be a certain way for it to be good, but actually it really doesn't. I think I love to incorporate things like roasting, slow cooking. These things also still bring out the flavor. And I don't want to say don't use any oil at all. No, use oil, but use a reasonable amount of oil, right? So that's one. I also love air frying. I love grilling. Grilling is also, I would say, traditional method of cooking. I remember back then I went to my village one time and they were roasting yam and like fish, and it's all like, it doesn't need any oil, but it still tastes really good, right? So that's one thing. Next is like steaming. We have a lot of food that we steam, things like moi moi, super healthy, super delicious, super filling. What other cooking methods? Also, another thing that I realized is we smoke a lot, and it's not so bad, but like there's been, I don't want to fearmonger, but there's been a lot of like some research about how when you take certain foods past their smoking point, it can or may not, cause cancer. I'm sure you've seen some stuff on that. So I think like maybe just, the food doesn't have to be taken all the way. And I think traditionally, back in the day, we didn't have fridges. So the way we could preserve our food is to fry the meat until, all the moisture goes out, and roast things. And all of that is good, but we don't live those lives anymore, right? Yeah. So we can afford to change things up a bit.
So we can evolve. So let's talk a bit about, our spices, the number, salt and pepper and all of that.
Yeah.
Are there any issues there, or you think that spices are good the way they are?
I think, but that's the thing, right? Spices are great, but what we use as spice, don't want to call any names out, is in spice, right? If you think about Iru is fantastic. It's fermented. It's great for your gut health. Like, salt is good in the right portions, right? Everything is okay. Like, what are spices? All the herbs, the leaves, you get all of these things are great and they're made for flavor. Where we now start falling into a trap is when we now use overly processed spices. So if you're buying something that is, it's gone through a factory as opposed to coming from the land, you're now starting to you're starting to enter like really grey waters. And this is not just with spices, across the board. Nigerians don't read labels. If you go into Ebano, if you go into where else do we shop, Rene, and you read the label on some of these ingredients, you will literally scream, Jesus! No, literally, because like you want to buy things like a tomato paste, sometimes it's 50% sugar. Yeah. And then it's red coloring and then tomato, right? And just read the labels, and we get away with, I think food processing here, it doesn't get any scrutinization at all. And as a result, there's a lot of crap in the things that we eat. And I just would love some more transparency around, even produce as well. Like the farms that we get stuff from, we don't really know. Like nothing is tagged as this and as that. So I really would wish that, we get a bit more light shed on farming practices and what we're getting, because I was hearing that even in some farms, like you would think that farms in these villages that they don't know anything about chemicals. It's a lie. They're pouring stuff on things. They're ripening foods faster. Everybody wants to make money now. So, and we don't know. We just go to the market and we buy, and then next thing you know, 10 years from now, cancer. What caused the cancer? We don't know.
So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Where do you stand when it comes to the GMO conversation? Do you have any? I know that this requires some experience and research, but where do you stand in this GMO conversation?
So I think that science has done a lot for us, and I think that in food, I guess development, there's been a lot of development that has actually helped us be able to produce more food. So I think that that's good. I don't want to stand here and say like, oh no, it's all bad, it has to be organic and we have to sweat before we bring stuff out. But I feel like there just needs to be more transparency and research in what we're buying, and also giving us the choice, right? Me, I'm the kind of consumer that if I go to the supermarket and there's a regular GMO grown tomato or an organic tomato, I want to have the choice to pick. And if I know that, okay, fine, I have to pay, 1,000 naira more, whatever, at least it's my choice. But then if it's forced on me and I don't know, and I think I'm eating organic because I live quote unquote in Africa, but I'm actually not. So this is the issue that I have, really, just transparency. So we have a choice.
People should know this is what you are taking.
Yes,
into your body, and
exactly.
then you decide if you want to take it or you don't want it or not. I mean, one of the biggest things about you is the 90-day African fat loss method. So I mean, you smiled. So let's get into that. I mean, of course, you cannot give us all the details and break it down. But what can you tell us? Walk me through the core of your 90-day African fat loss method. What are the pillars of this method?
Okay, so when it comes to coaching, my main pillars always are nutrition, fitness, mindset, and also tools and resources. And I'm going to break down each one of those, right?
Thank you.
So let's start with nutrition. If you want to not just transform your physique, but you want to become healthy, you want to age well, live well, have energy, right? You need to have a great look at your nutrition. How can I eat foods that energize me? How can I eat foods that, work with me, as opposed to things like people eat and they sleep for 3 hours, they can't move their bodies, right? And also, if you have physical goals, like you want to look a certain type of way, you want flat tummy, I get a little flat tummy.
Who doesn't want the flat tummy?
Who doesn't want, in this era of
all of us.
So the tools I create there typically around, like, I do meal planning, and my meal planning is very individual. So Jay, I would not give you the meal plan that I would give maybe a client that is like 100 kg, because they won't start from, like, I don't like this idea of like, oh, you want to lose weight and then immediately start drinking green juice and starving yourself. It never works, right? So what I do is like we slowly reduce the food that you eat, and until we bring you to what is your baseline, and we calculate all of this based on your height, your weight, and your lifestyle, right? If you're someone that's very active, we figure all of that for you. And also everybody has individual conditions. So some of my clients I'm supporting, like, they want their skin to look glowy, or someone who has PCOS, that's a very different approach, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we do when it comes to nutrition. But all of that nutrition is very centered around African cuisine. When it comes to fitness, we're doing movement, right? Movement is life. You need to move, whether that's walking, going to the gym. You don't have to go to the gym, but for women specifically, I recommend some sort of movement, especially resistance training, especially as you get older, because
Does that require you going to the gym? The resistance
you
training?
can do that from home, right? You can get a set of dumbbells and you can train from home, which I also have like a home gym set up, and I like going to the gym for the experience. So either or. Because a lot of women actually don't enjoy the gym experience, but that's a different conversation. But so that's movement, and movement for me is, I like to do movement that you enjoy. So if a client comes to me and they say, I really hate the gym, we'll create a workout plan from home, because it has to include strength training, and then we might add in Pilates, we might add in horse riding, tennis, something else, so that you actually enjoy it. Because I found that when it comes to making it a lifestyle, 'cause that's my ultimate goal. I don't want to just help you lose weight. I help people make it a lifestyle and enjoy it. So you have to do things that you enjoy. So that's movement. Recovery was the next one, and this is sleep, getting massages, managing your stress, taking care of yourself, journaling, meditation, just all of those intrinsic habits, even things like water. The biggest one for me is usually sleep. I really help my clients really kind of refocus on their sleep, because guess what? Your body can't lose fat when you're in a stress mode, right? So nothing works when nothing works. So really focusing on getting your body functioning, and then naturally it will start to do what it needs to do. And then I would say tools and resources is kind of like the fourth pillar, and this is where we basically educate you. So I don't want you to go through my program and keep coming back. I want you to go through my program, and that's why I do a lot of educational content, and do it for life. Like, I don't want to have to hold your hand forever. I want you to be able to figure out how to do it for yourself. And then if you're transitioning through life, so for example, I've had clients who were with me and then they had kids and they've come back after the kids, because now it's a different phase and they need something different. That's what I love. I have clients I work with who sometimes they just want some hand holding, right?
Yeah.
So this is really all the pillars that we start from. And if you're looking to lose fat, but more importantly, like maintain a healthy lifestyle, you need to be focusing on your movement, your nutrition, recovery, and just having the right tools and education that works for you specifically.
Amazing. We're in conversation with the founder of the African Fat Loss Method, Gbemi. We said so much. I am learning so much. There's something you said about movement and ensuring that you just enjoy. Because you want to be able to do it for the rest of your life. But it gets to a point where you want your body to look a certain way. Sometimes people don't feel how they look. But sometimes people want to, look a certain way. They want a flat tummy. They want toned arms and toned legs. Does that require you going to the gym?
Yeah, so if you want all of that, you need to go to the gym. You need to have a proper training program. So if you notice, if you do different sports, you have different physiques. Swimmers don't look like bodybuilders. They don't look like people who play tennis, or runners. Like, runners are usually very skinny. Swimmers usually have broader shoulders. People who like do Olympic weightlifting are usually like stuck here, right? So a style of training is definitely going to shape how your body looks. What I do like to say is, like, if you're someone that's really focused on physique, what we do is a lot of body recomp. So we help you, typically for a lot of women, lose fat and build muscle, and you can control where you build muscle in certain areas. What you can't really control is where you lose fat, but we combine both your nutrition and your workouts to kind of like really make sure that we're helping you lose fat. It typically is always the belly area, arms for women and stuff. And then, but with this, you kind of have to trust the process, right? It's a bit longer, again, depending on where you're starting from. But if you're looking to build a physique, you got to go to the gym.
So there's this conversation around, there's this guy that I follow that talks about, a lot of people go to the gym, they're trying to build muscle, trying to look a certain way, but they don't necessarily have movement on lock, in the sense that, they're not athletic. And it was talking about how more people need to include movement, into their workout. Because people go to the gym, they're just lifting weights, it's going heavy. And he's saying that while that is great, it's important to, do more athletic stuff, like run or jog or swim. What do you say to that? Especially for someone that maybe doesn't have all the time and just has like 1 hour a day and just wants to use that 1 hour at the gym. What do you say to that?
Okay, so I would definitely say he's right. Like, I've met bodybuilders huge like this. Ask them to run, they will pant. You know what I mean? So I think, again, like, it's very different sports. in all the work that I do, I always optimize for lifestyle and balance, right? The only reason why I would say go to the gym 5 times a week, every week, is if you're trying to compete in a bodybuilding competition. If you're just looking to live a healthier life, which is what most people are looking for, you need to have a combination of strength training and cardio. Cardio is not only good for like athleticism, your heart health. You need to be able to breathe properly, like do things right well. So movement is great. One of the lowest hanging fruits is you can cut your strength training time into 40 minutes and then add in maybe 10 minutes of cardio, running on the treadmill, for example. And that way that I like to train and program is also kind of like dynamic work, which is not for everyone. Because again, a lot of people, like some people don't want to jump. Like ask them to do a burpee, they're not really interested. But there are other ways to still build that cardiovascular kind of like endurance, right? Run anything cardio, running, tennis, dancing, Zumba, is a great way to build this. So, just have to find your balance.
Finding the balance. Okay, I mean, I have a lot more questions to ask. We have to talk about the Afro Bowl System because that's one of the first things you spoke about. I mean, it's pinned on your page. Can you explain what this Afro Bowl System is and what makes it different from most diet recommendations?
Absolutely. So I ran a restaurant for 5 years, right? And we built a restaurant around this bowl concept. And then I went and got my nutrition certification and like my PT and everything. And I realized, when it comes to healthy eating, it's literally covering the basics. You need to get some carbs in, you need to get some proteins in, fats, fiber. Once you've covered these basics, you're good. Afro Bowls is covering these basics with the African kind of like outlook, right? So when I was growing up, when they're serving you rice, the rice to be like this.
Yeah.
We now see 2 meats. So it's rethinking that, right? Okay, fine. Your carbs should be around 20-30% of your plate. You're having more protein, around 30-35%. You're filling the rest up with fiber. Fats come in naturally with African food through our stews and our sauces. So just thinking about how to balance your plate. So Afro Bowl System is literally over 100 recipes that follow this method, all with African food. So you don't have to think about, I want to eat healthy. How should I do it? Follow the system. It works. We have great testimonials. It's not like I've just done it for African food. It's been done for years using like Western food, right? So
you're just making it African.
Exactly, which is what we need.
Interesting. Let's talk about the portion aspect. Why do we eat the way we eat? Why do we just pile on into the bowl?
That's why I stop on.
Yeah. And so before I even ask that, when you finish eating, are you supposed to be tired? Because people often say that once you finish eating, you just want to sleep. After I just ate that pounded yam, whatever, I just slept. Is that what is supposed to happen? Food is supposed to energize you. Why do people sleep after eating? Is it a wrong way of eating?
So it's not normal. I mean, naturally, when you do eat, obviously your body now is digesting the food. And when we're digesting the food, we need energy, right? And when you overeat, your body needs more energy to digest the food. And that's where the tiredness and lethargy comes in, right? So when we eat, we should feel full, but not so full that we must collapse. And I think a lot of the times we're told when we're younger, you must finish the food on your plate, or you must, do you know what I mean? So people don't listen to their own natural hunger cues, which we all have. Like there's a point where you're full, and that's because but because there's still more food there, you keep eating, right? And I think the more we ignore that cue, the more we eat, and we don't need as much food as we typically serve ourselves. So what I always do for every client that comes in, I recommend anyone can do it. You can even use ChatGPT, right? Put in your height, put in your weight, and ask it for your base metabolic rate. So, and also your age. So it will tell you maybe if you're a 30-year-old woman who is on average 70 kg and you're about 170 meters tall, you probably need around 1,800 calories a day to maintain your weight, right? Now, if you want to lose weight, you need to eat less than that. Exactly. If you want to maintain, you should be eating around that. So having some basic education of, okay, this plate of rice I'm eating now, how many calories is it? Not that you have to be counting calories every day, but if you know, it's easy for you to just, this meat I'm eating now is around, this plate I'm eating around at 700 calories. If I eat 3 times with this meal, you get, I'm hitting my base metabolic rate. Exactly. But also, if you're active, like if you're someone that goes to the gym, you need to eat more than that because you're burning more than the actual calories that your body needs to just exist. So I think knowing these numbers for anyone who's actually serious about transforming their body is key. Most people don't need all of that. Most people just need to balance their plate. If you're eating rice, please add some greens there, add some efo, add some chicken and meat. Don't make it all just rice. Because also another thing that happens is when we carb overload, so if you're eating carbs is rice, yam, potatoes, pounded yam, it's really high in sugar. So when our bodies basically take that sugar, our blood sugar spikes up, our insulin level rises, and long term, that's not good. Like, that's when diseases start to happen over time, right? So what you want to be doing is eating in a way where you're able to balance your blood sugar, and that way you don't have that energy crash and energy dip. So things like protein help with, the blood sugar balance on the plate. Fiber is also extremely important as well. So things like your vegetables. It doesn't have to be salads. I think when people think eating healthy, bakachi, jollof rice and efo, like okra is great. Like, all our soups and stews are really vegetable dense. So if your swallow is not really the problem, right? Eat small swallow, eat your soup and stew, add more protein.
So basically reduce the pounded yam on the plate, maybe increase the vegetable,
absolutely,
the effort. And so I think that that's really interesting. I think this requires people doing a lot of studying, because when people think about white rice, they think about you have to eat it with fried stew
and plantain,
another
carb again.
Yes, somebody will eat it with moi and plantain and eat it together. So I think knowing that I think it requires a lot of a mindset change for people to know that I can actually eat my white rice a little with eating with F1 and all of that. So recently I also decided that I want to change some things food wise, and then I bought some things that I'm not eating now that I might have to give away. So it's brown rice,
okay,
and it just did not
correct.
It just did not. So how do you help people like that? Because there's some people that feel like I have to eat brown rice. I have to eat so I won't eat eba and all of that. I'll eat the healthier versions, maybe plantain, whatever that they're making. There's so many things now that they're making in the market, but they don't taste as good.
The same way.
Do you say someone should stay there, and finish that pack of brown rice, or what would you advise in that situation?
I think it's definitely a mix and it's individual. I think the one thing I always say when people start this journey is, before you do any diet, ask yourself, can I maintain it? Because if you can't maintain it, what's the point? If imagine you starve yourself for 3 months and you lose weight. After the 3 months, you can't maintain it. You're not getting the weight back, and you suffer for 3 months for nothing. Do you get? So I think first of all, always think slow is better, right? Increase the timeline to maybe over a year. Secondly is, I never wake up one day and try to introduce so many foods, right? Pick one thing. Okay, maybe I'm not happy with my white rice consumption. Maybe I'll try brown rice one time, or maybe I'll try quinoa. One hack I love is I do white rice and I mix in grated cauliflower. So it bulks the rice, but you don't actually taste the cauliflower like when you eat it with stew. My clients love that hack. So there are many ways, but I would say if something is not working for you, it's not working for you. Like, I would never, why would I force you to eat that way what's the point, right? But there are other ways to still achieve your goal. So the biggest thing, I'm going to ask you now, what are you trying to achieve with the brown rice? Like, what
am I trying? I'm trying to, so I do have a somewhat of a fit body. You understand?
Of course.
I do. But this is my belly. It's really fighting again. I mean, there are days I'll look at my waist and I'm like, oh, this is something that there are days I'm just like, this is not, so for me, I think that's just like, and I think that a lot of people, that's a major thing. You have people that go to the gym, have, toned arms and toned legs and all of that, but their belly is just,
Okay, there are a couple of things that we always look at. First thing is, I want to know how you eat. Like, walk me through what you eat in a day. Yesterday, what did you have? Breakfast, lunch, dinner?
What did I eat yesterday? Okay, so so my eating is just like all over the place. So yesterday, what did I have? I had rice in the morning. I had some toast bread later, and then I didn't eat till much later on in the night, and I had shawarma in the night. Okay, and that's all I had. So because of the work that I do, so before I would just blame it on my eating. But there are times where I don't eat till like 3 p.m. Do you understand? And then maybe I can go all out, or I might not even go all out, depending. So yeah. Okay, so I already hear a few red flags, right? So the rice, what did you have it with? Just chicken. Okay, so no fiber. The first thing I would say is balance your plate. It makes, we don't understand how much of a difference balancing your plate makes. Balance your plate. Throw some vegetables in there, right? Then you said for lunch you had toast. Again, was it just toast with butter and stuff? Yeah, just toast, yeah. Throw some protein in there. Again, balance. If you just start balancing all of your meals, you're going to see a huge difference in your physique. It works. Secondly is, I know what your industry is like, so I would say sleep. How many hours do you get a night? That's crazy. Yeah. Sleep is huge. Yeah. Especially when we're thinking about visceral fats. Yeah. Sleep. Wow. So you're saying how many hours? Yeah, I'm asking. Tell your people. They want me to confess on my show. How many hours? To be honest, it just depends. It just depends. I'll sleep late. Probably I'm up at 6, you know, and I'm already out and about again.
Yeah.
I mean, there are days that I do try to sleep in. So I realize that there are days that maybe I've not slept enough. So I try to, you know, take a day to just
sleep.
Yeah.
So I think if you can regulate, and I think for men, at least 6 hours is great. But also beyond sleep, what other kind of recovery things do you do? You meditate, you journal,
That's great. I don't do all of that.
You need to find one or two that will just calm your nervous system down, right? I don't think we underestimate how like much having a calm, just well-regulated body does. And when you have that, your body will do everything else that it needs to do. That's one. I would say sleep. I would say your meals, but also, are you like consistent with your steps? Because I know you go to the gym, but like, what is your?
But
cardio
I'm trying
like?
to include that. I don't do a lot of like as much cardio as I should.
Yeah.
I mean, Fridays are for like, you know, that.
Yeah.
I do more.
If you want to shred, cardio.
Yeah.
Cardio. If you cardio like this, you shred.
Yeah, cardio. Okay. What's your take on fasting?
Fasting. Oh, I love fasting. There's a fantastic book on fasting called Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Pels. It's well researched. What I don't like about fasting is how people use it as the only weight loss tool, and then they basically, you know, just do. You can't fast for 16 hours, and when you're finished fasting, you pile meat and be like, oh, it's my one meal of the day, and you know. So fasting, I think, is great, but not even just for fat loss. More for there's this concept called autophagy, where basically when you fast, your body cells renew and detox. So I like fasting. I think you can definitely incorporate it into like your health, overall longevity, wellness journey for sure, but don't over rely on it, because we need food at the end of the day, right?
I mean, we're entering into dirty December. There are going to be a lot of parties,
period,
late nights, food everywhere, travel, you know, zero structure. People are just doing every and anything, right? How does someone stay healthy without feeling like they are missing out on the festivities and on dirty December?
Absolutely. It's so funny. I had a client who had struggled with like losing and re-losing weight, and then last December she was like, you know what, I want to work with you throughout December and just kind of like see how I can create a balance. And we basically got her fantastic results. She has abs, amazing. Now, the biggest thing, and I also do, because I'm quite a balanced person. I eat healthy, but like you will still see me eating outside. I won't say I party a lot, but like, you know, I like to enjoy myself. Like I would have the occasional drink or whatsoever, right? So I think one is realizing that food is not running away. I think we're going to go back to events, and we see everything in front of us and we want to eat everything. It's really not that deep, right? The food is not running away. So it's very mental. Secondly is plan as much as possible. There's a lot of things that will be coming up. If you say, and don't plan that, oh no, I'm going to be healthy this December, I'm not going to go out. It's a lie. You will go out and then you feel guilty for maybe being tempted, right? So I would say, if you can, out of your 3 meals in a day, try and eat 2 at home or 1 or 2 at home. The last one, you can eat outside. You can still enjoy yourself, right? But in a week, you have 7 days in a week. Maybe you do 3 outside and then 4 inside. Or even if you're eating all 7 outside, the 7 that you do have, again, think about the principles that you have at home. How can I balance my plate? So I'm going out to a restaurant. I don't have to order shawarma, right? I can order the grilled chicken, which is primarily protein. Yeah. I might not see a salad on the side to have, or maybe I can have, I don't know, cucumber. I can choose not to drink the sugary drink. Instead of having Fanta and Coke, I can choose to have a soda water. Instead of having sweet cocktails, I can have a gin and tonic, which is actually a great low-calorie drink. And then I can, it's one of the lowest calorie, alcoholic drinks. I recommend to my clients, if you're trying to get lit, but like you're not trying to pile on the weight, that would be a good one.
God bless you for that.
You're welcome. I would say recover back on your sleep. The damage is not so much the going out, because you burn calories, you're dancing, you're living, but when you drink a lot of alcohol, your appetite also increases, right? So now you're eating at 4 a.m., 3 a.m., you know. So try to maybe have healthy choices if you're coming back home late at home, so you can easily eat that, or eat well during the day so you're not super hungry at night. And then I also have a 2-drink rule. There's no need for us to drink the whole bottle. 2 is okay, do you get? But again, like, this is very individualistic. If you're someone that you like to keep things balanced throughout the time, you can balance it all the way through. But if you're someone that's okay, you'll be very good, but you know that for 3 nights, so you don't care, you will eat everything, that is still balance as well. But I think it's just planning ahead and not just letting yourself go completely. You're an adult.
So you need to Be disciplined, really.
Yeah, be disciplined, yeah, but still have fun.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you said a lot of things already, and I feel like those were my questions, but you've already answered them. So yeah, from your experience, what is the minimum effective dose workout routine someone can do during travel or holiday chaos? I mean, what do you think?
I would say aim for like 2 to 3. Aim for 2 to 3. And another hack that I love is do it with your friends. Now is the time for you and your friends to go and play tennis. Like because December is time to be social, right? Plan an activity, go for a walk with your friends, or, a boxing match or something. Go to the gym with your friend, like, so that you have that opportunity to also catch up. Exactly, to make it fun. So I would do 3 times a week as baseline, 2 to 3 times a week as baseline. If you cannot go to the gym, now is a great time to do YouTube workouts. I have a YouTube channel, plug my YouTube channel. But there's also so many YouTube workouts, right? Or maybe you're walking more. When my clients travel and they don't have access to a gym, then you're going to be getting your 10,000 steps by force by fire, right? Yeah. Especially if it's not in Lagos where, we can walk. Yeah. But, so I think there are many hacks around it. Dancing as well. If you're going to spend 3 hours dancing all night, don't go to the club and sit down. Move your body. Yeah. That oneself is an activity, right? It might not look like your normal routine, but you're still moving. And then when you come back home, or when life gets back to normal, you can get back to the gym. You will not lose your gains, do you guess? Yeah. Also, depending on where you've been in the journey. But if you're someone that is starting your journey in the middle of all of this, it might be a little bit more difficult to manage, right? But if you're someone that's already been in routine, I think there are a few ways around it where you can, manage yourself without losing all your progress. Yeah.
So what's the future saying for you? What's the plan? What are we looking forward to happening for you?
Oh, pressure.
And do you have any, or do you have any special things for the end of the year for people, clients, or whatever?
So basically, I've been using my African fat loss method to coach my clients one-to-one for over a year now, and for the first time ever, I'm doing a group coaching program. So I've taken all of the research after working with hundreds of women, and I've built it in a way where people can get access to it in a more affordable level, but you won't probably get one-to-one access to me, but you can actually run yourself through this. So we've just launched that literally last Friday.
Okay.
I haven't even posted on Instagram yet because I'm just like, hey God, I beg. I still want to kind of enjoy December, but we're taking in applicants so that by January, people can get started and really get into their routines. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. My goal is to get 1,000 women in that program. Okay. So I'm probably going to spend the whole of next year you know what I mean? So that's good. I think also just being in Lagos, so grateful for the opportunity to be here, making more connections here as well, because I feel like I really want my work to be relevant to here. And then what else? Just creating content as per usual. I live my life, doing the same thing, nothing much.
How can people connect with your work, and people that maybe want to get involved in, the courses that you're doing or the classes you're doing? How can people, get your work? And also, I know you have some stuff that you've done in the past, some materials that you have. How can we get access to all of that as well? And your YouTube as well, of course.
Oh, okay. Time for me to plug myself.
Plug.
So I think one of my best-selling products is my Afro Bowls ebook. You can definitely just access that by Googling Afro Bowls, or go in my Instagram, which is Gbemi Giwa, Gbemi. I'm Gbemi Giwa across all socials. So that's on my YouTube as well. And then on my Instagram, you see a coaching application where you just click the link and we'll just check if you're a right fit as well. And then also for African Fat Loss, we have an Instagram called @AfricanFatLoss where we post, client testimonials, but also a lot of educational content. In fact, this December, I'm trying to do a challenge where I'm posting every single day.
Okay.
Come rain, come sunshine. Exactly. Like so I guess my next goal for content would be to get to 100K followers. So, fingers crossed.
I mean, you're already doing a fantastic job. So it's going to happen sooner than you think. So thank you so much, Gbemi, for being here. This was such a fun conversation. Do you have any final words for the people? Anything?
Yes, I would say, I know January is coming again. I know the pressure is going to be worse, right? When you're picking your plan and setting your goals, please don't try to say you need to lose weight in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Think about sustainable habits that will keep you going for life. Think about, you 20 years from now, how do you want to be? How do you want to feel? Really consider that person when you're setting your goals and plans for the year. And have fun with it. Don't let anybody force you to eat salad if you don't want to eat salad. Eat your about. This life is short.
Just eat your about with,
with conditioning, you get, with portion control. Exactly.
Thank you so much, Gbemi. I mean, I always wrap up with Jay's Steak. And Gbemi is not telling you to let go of everything that you eat currently. She's not telling you to stop everything you do now. I mean, it's just baby steps to get to your goal. And I think that lifestyle change is the most important thing. Why do something that you know that in the next few months you're going to stop? Why don't you do something that you can carry on for the rest of your life? Because the point is not just to look good, but also feel good. And to feel good, it has to be something you do every single day. Okay, so that's what to take from this conversation. Thank you so much, Gbemi.
Thank you.
This was a great time.
It was a pleasure.
We have JayOnAir Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. right here on 88.5 UFM. And of course, on YouTube, JayOnAir TV. So subscribe, tell your friends. I mean, this episode is really one that I think is going to change your life. So YouTube, watch and rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. There's some things that you may have missed in the conversation, but when you go and rewatch, you say, that's what Gbemi said. That's important. So thank you so much. This was a fantastic episode. Catch you on another episode of JayOnAir.